I have mistakes in my family tree. You? Are you wondering how to actually find those mistakes to fix them? Well, in this video, I'm showing you how to do exactly that using the consistency checker over at MyHeritage. Hey there, if we haven't met before, I am Lisa with Are You My Cousin? And this YouTube channel is designed to help you find your ancestors, grow your family tree, but not be overwhelmed in the process. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, you're in the right place. Now, I do have a family tree over at MyHeritage, of course, and I did recently receive an email in my inbox that told me that, hey, Lisa, you've got some mistakes in your family tree. And this is generated by their tool called the consistency checker. And it scans my tree periodically, and it will notify me if it finds mistakes or inconsistencies, things that need my attention in my family tree so that I can have a healthy family tree. So exactly what is this consistency checker that I'm talking about? Well, it's a tool over at MyHeritage. So when you have your family tree at MyHeritage, like I do, the consistency checker is actually scanning your family tree periodically to check for inconsistencies, things that need your attention to be fixed on that family tree. So it is checking for 36 different types of inconsistencies or mistakes that could be in that family tree that I've created. Then it notifies me to take a look and to fix what needs to be fixed. Because face it, guys, we all get really excited when we're doing our genealogy research, and it is very, very easy to transpose a date, a number in one of the dates, so that maybe you have a birth year that's off, or maybe you have a mother who was too young to have the child that you are attributing to her. These are things that are easy sometimes for us as researchers to make a mistake, think, oh, I'll catch it, or I'll go back at some point and double check all my work. And of course, we're too busy looking for new ancestors, and we forget to do that, right? So this is a really great way of having almost, well, kind of like a virtual assistant in your back pocket to check that tree, that is checking that family tree that you have there and letting you know, hey, this needs to be looked at or that needs to be looked at. Let's get that cleaned up and fixed. If you have ever wished to have a research assistant by your side while you search for those elusive ancestors, hit that like button and let me know, because I don't think I'm the only one. All right, so let's get back to learning more about that consistency checker, how to use it, and, well, as I like to refer to it, my research assistant. Now, certainly not everything that consistency checker is looking at is a factual mistake. It is looking at other types of mistakes or inconsistencies, such as, well, maybe poor practices, poor research practices. It could be warning you about possible data entry errors. And those are so easy to make when we're adding dates and places to our family tree. It is very easy to transpose a number, or your finger hits the wrong key up there on the number keys. So it's the consistency checker is able to say, hey, take another look at this because I think it needs your attention. Okay, so that's what the consistency checker is. So let me show you what it looks like in action, guys. So I'm going to turn my camera around, let you take a look over my shoulder as I walk through finding and fixing some of the errors that the consistency checker has found in my tree. Okay, so I wanted to show you the email that I got from the MyHeritage tree consistency checker that notified me that I had some issues in my family tree. And no judgment here, guys. I had 44 issues in this tree. It's been a while. This is actually a sample tree, a test tree that I typically work in. But you can see the types of things. It says, I've got Susan Howard, who is alive but too old. And I've got a parent here who's too young when having a child, and a fact occurring after a death. So you can see these are the types of things that it's telling me I need to take a closer look at with that. Telling me I have siblings that are very close in age. So it gives me some ideas of areas that I need to take care of and look at for my tree. Now, conveniently, we're going to click over here, and we are going to go to my family tree. Okay, so we are over here at the tree consistency checker at MyHeritage. So we're going to take a look at some of those things that popped up that were not correct, that are going to need what I needed to look at. Now, at any point I change, I can always hit the recalculate as I'm working on the tree to see what kind of progress I've made with this. But let's just kind of take a peek at what they're looking at. Now, it is telling me that here that I have a child that is older than a parent. So this is definitely a mistake. There's a problem with that particular tree, so I will need to go and do some more look at it. It's actually saying take a look at the birth date of Sarah Blake or of Martha Jones. So one of those I have got and need to. It could be a simple typo, or it could be I've got a real problem in my tree, so it's definitely given me some information to go and look at. Now, here we go. Down here I have several. It looks like I've got that I just never marked deceased. So that as far as the program is concerned, I didn't put a death date, or I didn't mark, and I haven't marked them deceased. So it's still reading as they would be living, and they are not. Obviously, they would be way too old. So this is really more of a best practices thing, not necessarily a mistake in my tree. It does tell me that I need to probably maybe take a second look at some of these for some death dates to pursue. These are more collateral ancestors, so I haven't done as deep a research on them. I've been focused more on the main, but the nice thing here is I can literally take care of it from here. I can just mark her as deceased. So it's not putting a date in, it's just saying this person is deceased. Obviously, if they were born around 1832, as this lady was, Elizabeth Howard, she would be deceased. So I'm confident and can just say, okay, she is deceased. So I can move through those as needed with no issues. So I'll come back and do those more. But let's see some of the other things that we have going on. Again, it's telling us some issues with a parent being too young for having a child. So that's good to know. Is it conceivable that this child was born to a mother who was 15 years old? Yes, it's conceivable. Not probable, but it could be. It could have happened, certainly. So it would be one that I would want to go and take a closer look at. So most of these are, this one is 7 years apart. Obviously, there's a mistake. I may have put somebody in incorrectly and just need to double check some dates. I may need on a couple of these to do a little bit. This Blake line is one that I'm just kind of been playing with and exploring, and definitely needs a little more closer look at it. Other types of things, it's going to say, oh, we've got a fact happening after a death. So that would certainly need to be corrected, and a fact happening before the birth, obviously somewhere in there. This happens pretty common if I've got an approximate date down. So I have an approximate date for somebody, and then it does trip the algorithm just a little bit, but that's okay. This is a nice one I thought was interesting. This is where it says I have siblings that are too close in age. So again, it's not telling me things are absolutely incorrect, but yes, some of these I do need to take a closer look at. Certainly, it may be again a little date transpose. I may have just an approximate date down for a child or for a pair of siblings, but it does tell me I need to take a closer look at what's happening there. And then I've got some children or some individuals who were married too young, at 14. Again, that's possible. Not very probable. These are all, again, more collateral lines that I need to take a closer look at to correct that. Here's a best practices thing. I have multiple marriages down for a particular couple. And so it may be that I wasn't 100% sure, and so I put both in as I was testing out some algorithms and testing out a tree, so that tells me go fix it. This is a nice one here. Again, a best practices type thing. The suffix in the first name needs to be corrected. So if it's truly, move it more toward the suffix as opposed to being as a middle name. I'm not real sure what happened there. I actually think that may be, he's either the third and I've got it in the wrong place, or I've got just a typo on a middle name. So it could be either one. I just need to take a look at that because it's not correct. Again, it's telling you when you have multiple birth facts or death facts to an individual to go back and clean those up. All right. So, and again, it's really keeping those death dates, those birth dates of things happening so that I know what's happening, and I keep a nice clean tree. And then it's going to tell me you've got some double spaces in a name, so that's the kind of thing I can fix right from this spot here. It's telling me I've got some inconsistent name spellings, and that's the kind of thing that, yes, in this case for this gentleman, I do know who he is. I know that it really should be Hollifield with one L and not Holyfield with two, so I can correct it. But there were some in the family where I do see the double L, and maybe for that particular individual it's correct, and I can say, leave it alone, it is correct. So a lot of these we can fix right from here. So here's another inconsistent place name spelling. Again, don't want to make it NC. Obviously I put in little c, typo. I should have put big N, big C for North Carolina. So obviously I got that kind of messed up. And it's telling me how to recommend some changes that would make that more consistent and more appropriate for best practices of research. So that's what we're seeing there with that. Now, any of these, I can actually click on the person and go to them. Another place to check would be to go into your family tree. So let me go into the family tree. So we're over here at one of my family trees here on MyHeritage, and I wanted to show you another way to look at those consistency checkers. You can certainly come up here to family tree and click consistency checker and get that same report we saw. Or sometimes what I'm doing is I'm working with individuals. If I want to clean up a profile, maybe I am working and learning a little bit more information, and as I go, I click on to an individual. This is my great grandmother, and maybe I've learned some new information I want to add to it. But when I open up her profile on the side panel, I realize not only do I have some matches that I could explore, I have 2 consistency errors that are being marked here. So I want to check those out. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the full profile. I think it's an easier view for that. And so here I am. This is her full profile. And I've done a video on this new profile look here at MyHeritage, which I really, really like. And I'll be sure and link that down in the description below so you can check out that a little bit more. There's some really cool things about the profile that you can do that you'll want to look at. But for today, we are looking at that consistency checker. So I'm in her profile, and I'm going to scroll all the way down past all of this because this is where I'm going to find the consistency issues. They're going to appear down here toward the bottom, and it says I have multiple death facts for the same person. So, and then I have siblings that are too close in age. So if I go up to her death fact and look at that, let me see, where is she? See, I have one that's very specific, and then I have, or one that's very specific here, January 19th, 1977. And I have her burial, just general 1977. And then I have a residence for January 18th, 1977. I've got these, oh, and then I don't know what I did on this one, guys. I must have been really playing around things, but these are some things that, so I have it listed twice. This is actually the more complete death date, and it's actually telling me there's a hint there that I could find an even further, another hint to get it even more specific. So definitely could do that. But I could say, all right, this one's January 19th, Greensboro. This one is 1977, Surrey County. So I could actually, I do know that this one is correct. And so I could go in and just delete that fact out because I do know that's not the correct. So I could clean them up that way. It would take me a little bit to, and you can see down here at the consistency error, when I did that, it went away. So it tells me I took care. It's also telling me that I've got she and her sister, Edna Mae, being too close in age. So I would want to go and confirm Stella's, I would want to confirm her birth year, and then I would want to take a close look at her sister's profile as well. There was, I do believe, an adoption. I think I heard some oral history around an adoption in one of these families for this side of the family, and so that would be something that I might need to look at. It may not be that they were too close in age. It could be there was, this is where the adoption took place. I'd have to take a closer look at that, but it gives me an idea and an item for me to put onto my research plan to look at. I want to make sure that you are growing a healthy family tree and using all the possible tools over at MyHeritage to do just that. Check out the MyHeritage playlist that I've created. It is full of how-to tutorials just for you.